What is up, Warshippers? SeaRaptor here, bringing you a first look at HMS Exeter Tier 5 Premium British Cruiser. Now, we have not had a premium British cruiser in the game since they yanked Belfast out of the store, and that's been, what, a year and a half, I think? It's been a while, so it's long past time. And I gotta say, I'm pretty stoked for this ship. This is a ship that I've wanted to see come to the game for a long time. Not to mention the fact she is the first British heavy cruiser in the game, or will be when she releases. And, well, that's noteworthy as well, just because the British didn't turn out. The Royal Navy didn't build that many heavy cruisers. There were only a handful of classes of them. And, of course, none of them are in the line itself. So let's see what we end up with here. Let's have a look around. Of course, remember, if you've seen these videos before, we're able to poke around, show you the ship, show you the model and everything, and show it to you in port here on the public test realm, but we are not able to play the ship. That will have to come later in a builder's trial video. So what's noteworthy about Exeter? Well, let's go through the list here. For starters, she is the only other, I guess maybe unless you count Kirov, the only other Tier 5 real true heavy cruiser at Tier 5 outside of Japanese Furutaka. And Furutaka is a very, very strong ship. If you played any of the ranked 5 ranked sprint season, Tier 5 ranked sprint season we did not too long ago, Furutaka was an excellent ship. I played quite a bit of Furutaka in that season myself. Exeter here, clocking in at 29.5, basically 29,500 hit points. That does qualify her for the second most hit points of any cruisers at this tier. She's only about 1,000 hit points or so behind Furutaka. So plenty of health to go around here for the tier. That's nice to see. When you take a look at her armor scheme, you see a tremendous amount of 13mm plate on this ship. 13 at the bow, 19 here, the casemate armor. 13 back at the stern, 10 through the superstructure. This ship is not very well armored. She has 76mm armor here on the belt, right at her citadel, but that is about the best armor you're going to find on the ship. Now, the armor layout here will tell you that she has 140mm armor, and historically, that is correct, okay? But the 140mm armor on the ship should be on the roof of her magazines here underneath the barbettes. Not modeled in the game just yet. Not sure if that's an error or if they're simply not done with her yet. We'll have to see. So it's calling out the 140mm here, but you will not find 140mm armor anywhere on the ship as you go through its model. However, what you will find is that this citadel space is fairly compact. Let me see if I can get a good view of it here. Check this out. Look how very little bit of it protrudes above the waterline. If you turn that into real-world terms, probably no more than 4 to 6 feet of it sticks above the waterline. If we go back and we compare to, let's say, we find Furutaka over here. There we go. Let's have a quick look at Furutaka's citadel. Turn off her casemate. You can see here, Furutaka's citadel sticks up significantly higher. So Exeter has a bit of an advantage here. Like, her citadel is smaller, notably smaller, sits a little farther astern of the ship, directly under the stacks, doesn't extend forward to the magazines at present, has about the same, literally the same armor as Furutaka, that 76mm belt, but is a little smaller. So that's kind of nice. We'll have to see how that turns out in game, but so far, for Tier 5 cruiser, that's a little encouraging. But what you're really here for, what we're all really here for when we're talking about Exeter, we're here for the guns, right? So let's have a check. 3 double turrets, 203mm guns here. 12-second reload. That does beat out Furutaka by 3 full seconds. That's really nice. And the turn time. Check out that turn time. 22.5 seconds. That's really good for heavy cruiser gun turrets. That's like, hipper good, right? Those are really nice. The dispersion is pretty solid, 131 meters. That's, again, comparable to Furutaka, as well as the firing range. A little better range than Furutaka, which caps out at 13.9. So her overall DPM is going to be higher because she has that better rate of fire. She gets almost essentially an extra salvo per minute over Furutaka, which only gets off 4 salvos per minute. Exeter's going to get off 5. Her individual shells don't hit quite as hard. They don't do quite as much damage, but I think that's the trade-off for her having the higher DPM. Fire chance there, 15% fire chance. Lags behind Furutaka, but it's only by 1%, so it's not a whole lot there. Shell velocities, 855 meters per second, both AP and HE. Again, very comparable to Furutaka there, who clocks in at 140 meters per second. So on the face of it, these guns, if you look at the numbers, you look at the values, you look at the range, the shell velocity, the ballistics should feel very comfortable. Like, we don't know, of course. We can't take her into the game and find out. But just reading the tea leaves, it seems like they're going to be very, very comfortable to fire. So that's really encouraging. Her main battery looks really solid for the tier. Torpedoes. These torpedoes are ahead of their time. These are actually Fiji's upgraded torpedoes. 8-kilometer range, 2 triples per side, 72-second reload. These are pretty solid torpedoes, especially on a Tier 5 cruiser. They're not going to be Japanese good, but you can't expect that. And so, yeah, I can't really complain about these. These are nice. AA defense is hard to gauge right now. We're on the 8.0 test server, so we're working under the new AA defense system that's coming with the carrier rework, and I'm not going to pretend I really understand it just yet. I will say that you just look down the list here. She's running 4 of the double 102mm guns. This is typically the British long-range AA. You see these turrets all over the British cruiser line. And then she's running 2 octuple 40mm pom-poms. So these are the predecessor to the 40mm Bofors. This is what the British used until they started rolling out the Bofors and rolling that onto the cruisers. So this is probably an early war refit, call it 1941 or so, after the Battle of the River Platte. And she's packing the 40mm pom-poms there. And then, of course, she's got a lot of these, basically what amounts to 50 cals. She's only just the 2 then. 2 up forward. Okay. So her AA, like, on the face of it, probably, it's Tier 5. You're not going to get a lot of AA here, and you don't have defensive fire AA for it to really matter. So we'll have to test some more of that when we actually can play the ship. Right now, I can't really give you a read on the AA. Maneuverability-wise, she is one of the slower tier cruisers at Tier 5. 32 knots puts her just ahead of Murmansk's 29, but literally behind every other Tier 5 cruiser. So nothing to write home about here. It's not a huge gap, but it is a gap. Turning circle radius, rudder shift time, very comparable. She's going to handle pretty well, I think, once you get her up to speed. And one of the things we're going to have to pay attention to is British cruisers do not... The existing British cruisers in the game, let's say, we don't know about Exeter. The existing British cruisers in the game do not bleed speed through turns the same way most other ships do. So that maximum speed of 32 knots might not turn out to be quite the handicap you think, especially when she's maneuvering. So that'll be something to keep an eye on as we get the chance to take her into an actual game. The detection is really one of the big selling points of this ship. Here she's rigged for full stealth with her camo and concealment expert on the captain. You'll note that, again, because we are on the 8.0 test server, this is the concealment expert that caps out at 10% for everyone. Okay, so this is coming, whether we like it or not. And 9.6. She is easily the stealthiest Tier 5 cruiser in the game. And that's going to be a really huge asset, especially when she finds herself up-tiered. This is really nice. Her AP, I mean, she's a heavy cruiser. This ship wants to use her stealth and find a way to work around a flank and surprise and punish some other poor bastard light cruiser, Tier 5 light cruiser, some Königsberg or Emile Bertin, just wipe him off the map from a salvo from an Exeter that you never even knew was there. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to abusing this. And like I said, when she's up-tiered, that's going to be something she can flex that should hopefully allow her to be a little more survivable than the average Tier 5 cruiser in a Tier 7 game. Now, speaking of survivability, we also have to point out that just like her tech tree counterpart, she gets access to Repair Party. This is huge. This is absolutely huge at Tier 5. Of course, Emerald is a running joke, right? Like, she is easily one of the worst ships in the game. You just sneeze on the thing wrong and it takes citadels, so it desperately needs the Repair Party. We don't know that Exeter is going to be quite that fragile, but she packs the Repair Party, and that is really sweet. She comes with regular old Tier 5 Hydro, 4-kilometer ship detection. Not surprising there, good to see. And smoke, not something we typically see on a heavy cruiser, right? So this is exactly the same smoke that you get off of Emerald. It will work exactly the same as you're used to working. If you're used to playing the British cruiser line, this is the same smoke. So interesting mix of consumables here. It's noteworthy that she can dump the smoke generator if she wants for a catapult fighter, but she cannot take spotting aircraft. Emerald can. I don't know why you would, but you can. But Exeter can take the fighter aircraft if she decides she'd rather have that rather than smoke. So some flexibility there if you're worried about flexing your AA. All in all, guys, I am stoked for this ship. She looks like a really solid package. I love my Furutaka. It is one of my favorite ships these days, especially since they upgraded the sea hull all those months, many patches ago. She's just a really solid Tier 5 cruiser. Exeter looks to be cut from the same cloth. I cannot wait to put the ship onto the board and put her through her paces. So there you go, guys. First look at Exeter. Hopefully she'll be coming. Hopefully we'll get our chance to play around with her once 8.0 goes live. All right, guys, thanks again. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.